Hey y'all, hi. Welcome back to my channel. Did anyone else have a colonoscopy this week? No? Just me? Cool. It's a real great fun time. Highly recommend. Well, actually, in all seriousness, a colonoscopy is part of your health care. So if you, like me, have GI issues or Crohn's disease or any kind of IBD, IBS, colonoscopy is actually not a bad idea. Does it suck? Yes. Should you do it as part of your routine health care? Yes. And how I come out the other side of it smiling and feeling mostly normal again? Yes. But that's not really what we're here to talk about today. I'm filming this on March 9th. I am 2 days away from my 33rd birthday. It is Pisces season, and so I thought I would do some Pisces season inspired birthday makeup and revisit a topic that I had discussed about 2 years ago. It was actually one of the first topics that I chatted about, which was kind of like fear of the aging woman. And I always kind of like to reflect on where I personally stand on, my feelings around aging. Kind of every time my birthday rolls around, I like to consider my birthday my kind of reset for my personal new year versus like January 1st. So it's like the reset of me for me. It's the moment in the year where I like to take that opportunity for some reflection and just, as I continue all of my various personal work, see how I'm feeling on a few of these subject matters and topics that are, I think, very, very timely and kind of pertinent right now. And we see all of the time still, even in 2023, that society really does not like aging women. Aging women consistently get pushed out of the workforce. There was just a recent article, I'm not sure in what publication, but I'll do a screenshot of the article when I find it because I saw something on Instagram again earlier today, but I'm still dealing with kind of like sedation brain, so she's a little foggy up here. But it was kind of a reflection on a fire that had happened at a Canadian news outlet, I think a year or so prior, or a year or so ago. And the kind of general consensus was that this woman had been let go because she was aging and because, her hair was turning gray and she was just like no longer quote unquote attractive for, the public audience or whatever. And so it really sparked this whole debate, and this new article that I saw was kind of revisiting that and like why it's so important that we need to kind of defeat ageism, specifically when it comes to women in the workforce and obviously in so many other facets of public life as well. So from a personal standpoint, it's just something that I've been thinking about again, and like, how do I feel about turning 33? Does that make me like, when I was 23, the idea of turning 30 was a literal nightmare to me. I was so terrified of approaching my 30s and not feeling good about life. As I talk, I'm just gonna start doing my makeup. I know that I filmed like a mermaid inspired makeup look 6 months ago. I'll post the video here, but I'm gonna kind of revisit that again. I have sort of like a modern Ariel outfit on, and I've got little shell clips in my hair, little mermaid earrings. So I'm just, that's the way I'm feeling, Pisces season, I'm going full fish. And I'm just gonna start with some primer because it's been a few hours since I did my skincare. And this is the e.l.f. Hydrating Face Primer on the Go. It's just a mini. I've only used this like once before, I think, and it's quite silicone-y. Like it just whoop, slips right off your face, but I think it will create a really nice base for the makeup today. And once again, I am really not going to move my hair out of my forehead, so deal with it. I'm also just gonna lay a little teeny tiny bit down on my eyelids because we will be doing some eyeshadow today. So yeah, I have been personally reflecting on this whole idea of aging. And eyebrows, I finished my Refi one. So this is now the Essence Fix It Like a Box, cannot speak, Like a Boss Transparent Brow Gel. And you know, we're just doing the usual thing. So yeah, when I was in my 20s, especially my early 20s, the idea of turning 30 was absolutely outrageously terrifying, especially as, you know, I got closer and closer to my 30s and just felt like I hadn't really accomplished any of the things that for some reason I felt like I needed to accomplish by like the age of 25, and then if not 25, then the age of 26, and then if not that, etc., etc., and just kind of like ended up in this absolute hideously devastating psychological spiral. The usual complexion duo. So we're still trying to project pan this NYX Bear With Me concealer. I'm getting real tired of it, guys. But we're on the tail end. And yeah, I don't know, like there was a point in time where I truly believed that like I needed to have like a husband and kids by 25. And if I didn't achieve that, you know, I was like an abject failure. There was something distinctly wrong with me if I was unable to hit that milestone. And I don't know, just the older I've got, I'm like, why? Who put that in my head? Like, where did that idea even come from? I don't know. It's just like, it's not realistic these days, really. Getting married and having kids is very, very expensive. The cost of living is so expensive, but also there is absolutely like no handbook out there that determines that, you know, if you have kids and a house and a white picket fence and a freaking dog and all of these sort of like historically classic family check boxes, that's like the key to success. Like you've done the right thing. There's also a lot of religious and patriarchal values in those ideas. And obviously they're quite insidious because it's not like I was explicitly told or taught that as a young female. These are just kind of ideas that seemingly appeared in my mind one day and were like goals that I was trying to achieve. So creeping closer and closer to 30 started to become something that I was truly fearful of. And it, I think, disrupted a lot of the experiences of my 20s because it was something that I simply could not get past. I'm going to revisit the Kaleidos Symphony Contour Trio. I have the palette shade Tan, and I'm not going to really go near this shade, but I am going to play with the two, kind of like bronzer and contour. And I want something softly bronze, but nothing too crazy. Like my last kind of mermaid inspired look, I wanted to be very bronzed. This time, not so much. I just would like a little bit of kind of shape back to my face. And yes, I know I'm putting bronzer on my forehead when I didn't put any other makeup and no one's gonna see it. So that was kind of silly, but shh, don't judge me. I don't know, the last few years, and I've talked about this ad nauseum at this point, but I think I've really shaken a lot of those fears and concerns. Like they're, to me, just truly no longer even remotely valid because I'm so happy. And I don't know, really when I turned 30, it was like a switch went off, like a light bulb went on. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I love me. And I was at this point, and I'm still kind of in this place where I actually feel the youngest I've ever felt. And I think that's because for the first time in my life, in the past 3 years, you know, I'm really just doing me for the sake of doing me. I am unabashedly loving the things I love, and, you know, I'm just out there literally trying to make myself happy and living my life the way I want to live it. And, you know, I don't really care what anyone else has to say about it. And so I'm just literally, I've been having fun. I've been feeling happy. I've been embracing my playful, creative, spunky, weird sides. I've been literally just showing up for myself every single day, or at least most days, and just saying like, I love you. I love this person I see in the mirror. And you know, everything that she is and she does is amazing. And that's not self-talk I was having in my 20s. So I think I'm just starting to have a completely different relationship with the idea of aging. And like, you know, yes, am I getting more and more grays in my bangs and like in different parts of my hair? Am I starting to see, you know, more and more fine lines in my face? Is my body taking shape in different ways? Am I feeling a little bit more tired most days than I'm, you know, maybe would have like 5 years ago? Sure. If I, you know, do any kind of like extraneous activity, am I a little bit more sore the next couple of days? Sure. But like, there's also a beauty in that, because I'm no longer holding myself back. I'm no longer confining myself to these little boxes that I thought were expected of me. I'm truly just out here having a good time. Even when I'm having a bad time, my bad times now are so much different than they used to be. And there's something very cool about that. And I mean, sometimes like the gray hairs bother me. I think that's pretty normal. You know, sometimes I do naturally feel a little self-conscious when like my eyelids maybe look a little bit like wrinkly, or if I just feel old when, you know, Gen Z calls millennials out for something and they're saying that like our like hair clips and hair accessories from the 90s are like ancient times and whatever. But that's also like, that's society. That is that's in the cultural zeitgeist. That's not how we have to feel. And I think one of the reasons why I'm feeling so much better about, you know, turning 33, being in my 33rd year, this eyeshadow palette will not open, is because I'm also consuming content by other people in their 30s rather than strictly viewing content from, you know, people in their late teens or early 20s. Like, that really has an impact on the way that you see the world, because of course you're not going to be like that 20-year-old, nor should you be. If you're in your 30s, you should have less in common with that 20-year-old than you do with like other 30-year-olds. And you should feel proud of that, because when you're 20, your brain is still not fully formed, you know? Like, you're still out there living life so chaotically. You don't know your eyeball from your asshole most days. Like, up is down and down is up, and everything is just chaotic, and you're truly just learning how to be a freaking human being. And everyone loves to glorify your 20s. Everyone loves to glorify youth. And it's not like when you're in your 30s, you're not still young. If we're living to 100 years old now, like your 30s are still a freaking young time in life. Like, you're still fresh. You're still very green in, you know, the general span of time. If we're looking at the geological time scale, like 30 is nothing. You're just a speck in the universe. Like, why do we put so much weight on 30 as some kind of like amorphous milestone for like death? It's not. Your 30s are amazing. And the point that I was trying to make is that I think one of the reasons why I'm feeling particularly great about being in my 30s is that I'm not consuming content by people in their 20s. I'm consuming content by people like by my age peers, which is really wonderful, because I have something I can relate to when I watch these people. And I see how beautiful and young and vibrant and incredible and successful and creative and imaginative these people are. And it's like, I am just like that too. So it really changes your perspective. And I think another thing is that I also don't really consume a lot of like traditional media anymore. Like, I'm not flipping through magazines. I'm not actively seeking out like Elle or Vogue or any like high fashion content where models are still like very, very young and very, very skinny. Like, I don't necessarily want to have my finger on that pulse anymore, because it's just going to fill my brain with poison. And like, I love fashion, but I don't love some of the ideologies that are still very much in that world. Anyways, let's just pause, because I've got two Pacifica palettes here. that have just been sitting in my collection untouched for literal months, like this one almost a year. And I thought that it would be a great opportunity today to play with them. So this one is the Pacifica Magical Eyeshadows, and it's actually like animal magic. So this is the box, because it was literally still in the box. And so each shade is based on, or is like an animal. So I think it's flipped on the back. I'm pretty sure that this one is like swan. There's like white raven, there's a crow, there's an eagle, there's a blue whale, there's a mouse, there's an owl, there's a horse. So it's fun, and it's like quite a beautiful palette with a gorgeous range of shades and textures. You know, there's mattes in here, there's shimmers, there's metallics, and then there's like a couple really delicious glitters. And then this one is the Pacifica Purple Nudes palette, cocoa butter infused. And I like how the inside here says "You are so pretty." I don't know if you can see that. And also just like a lovely little purple palette. Very different tones of purple from my Kaleidos palette. And I don't think I really have any other purple eyeshadows quite like this. So I don't know. I've got kind of like a periwinkle, sort of periwinkle lavender. It's definitely more on the blue side, especially in this light colored shirt. So maybe I'll go with the purples. I don't know. I'm trying to like do something a little bit different than what I usually do. But obviously there's like a dolphin shade in here. This one is swan. It's annoying that on the back they're flipped. I don't know. There's so many delicious things to choose from. So I'm just going to go for it. And your guess will be as good as mine as to what we end up creating. I'm going in with this brush again, and hopefully it doesn't decide to shed all over me. And I also have to turn my mirror to like the magnifying side because so yeah, I think I'm excited to get older because it just doesn't mean to me now what it used to mean to me, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm looking at these and I think I'm really just going to dig into the Purple Nudes palette here. And I'm going to start with the shade Dove, which is kind of this cool leaning taupe. And that is just going to go all over my eyelid. And it actually might be a little bit too dusty for me, too pale. If I had more of like a pinky undertone, like it looks terrible on me and is actually almost pulling blue, which is disturbing. I don't like that. I don't know how much you can see it in the camera, but I don't like it. So scratch that as my base. I'm gonna go into the shade Stag, which is right here. It is a matte nude. Again, it might be a little bit too ashy on me, but I wanna just kind of like neutralize that Dove shade. Not the right tone for my skin. And honestly, Stag was not either. Fun times. Okay, well, this is just makeup playtime, you know? So I'm gonna go into now the shade Rose Quartz, see if that helps. Probably won't. It's probably just gonna make my eyelids paler and paler. But I really just want to have something all over the mobile lid anyways, and then we can kind of fix it afterwards. My like last mermaid makeup look was so blue and green, so I'm trying not to go into those shades. Now there is a lovely kind of mauvey, however you want to pronounce it, purple matte in the Animal palette. But I really, I like the shade Urchin here, which is, again, it's kind of more gray purple, but it's darker. Like I almost probably should have laid down Pegasus first, but we're gonna go into Urchin and just start dabbing that on the outer corner and kind of like into the crease. I like how I'm saying this as if I actually know what I'm doing, but we all know here that I am not a makeup artist. We're just having fun. Like I was saying, I kind of, and I think I've actually said this multiple times. I really do feel the youngest I have ever felt. And I think it's just because so much of my insecurity, okay, whoa. So much of my insecurities that were like really gripping me in my 20s, they're gone. And a part of that is because I just don't give a flying fuck anymore. And when I say that, I mean, like, I don't care what other people think. I'm not trying to impress anybody anymore. And sure, you know, I have an inner people pleaser. I have this little girl inside who still wants to like make friends. That is going on so patchy, you guys. I'm not having a good time here. Okay, what if I just go in with my finger? Let's see how that works. I don't care. Yes, I have people-pleasing tendencies. Yes, there's still a little girl inside who really wants to just make friends and to be loved. And that can result in some like self-sabotaging behavior sometimes. But on average, like, I just feel very secure in who I am. And that's something that I couldn't have said, you know, in my 20s. It's just, it was an impossibility. I never thought that I would be in a position to feel so confident and content and so unafraid in the face of aging. I'm taking this Urchin shade again. I'm gonna just bring it a little bit closer so you can see kind of the better color value there. So this one right here, and I'm gonna go onto my lower lash line on the outer corner. I think most of us had those insecurities and worries and fears in, you know, our 20s and teenage years. Like, I don't actually know how many people truly miss high school. I just don't know. There's some people who I can like be kind of mean about in terms of like that assumption, like folks that I knew in high school that I just like, if I were to run into them on the street today, I would either like hide in a bush or just like not care how they've been doing. The beauty of getting older is that you gain perspective and you gain experience and you learn how the world works and you learn how you function in the world and how you want to function in the world, and you understand who you are and who you want to become. And that doesn't happen without getting older. You don't just wake up at the age of 5. I mean, maybe some people miraculously have that ability, but for most of us, like, that kind of self-assurance and like the self-actualization process happens with age. And I don't know that it should really happen in any other way. Like, it's good that it happens slowly and gradually. I'm just trying a different brush here because I'm actually really struggling with the darker shadow. It's just kind of patchy and not quite accomplishing what I want. So this is kind of more of like a fan brush. Just trying to get a different blend, and also kind of trying to get it into my crease. That is the thing about Pacifica shadows, honestly, though. They're not the greatest sometimes. Colors are always really pretty and fun, but you don't always get like top shelf performance. But we're gonna make it work. And it is laying down a little bit better with a finger application, and I'm getting the kind of like pigment payoff that I want as I keep layering it with my finger. So we're getting somewhere. And the thing is that I want to top this look off with kind of like a red lip. So that could potentially go bad. We'll see. Which is why I kind of want to go easy on the cheeks too, because I don't want to go straight to Clown Town. We're trying to be like ethereal mermaid here. And this could work against us. I'm just going to go in to Urchin directly with the fan brush and just actually kind of brush out from my lower lash line to get more of a smoky wing, but it's also not fully working the way I want to. Whatever. And then I think there's 2 more shades here that I want to play with. We've got moonstone and amethyst, and amethyst has this kind of like nice swirl in it. Moonstone is definitely more of like a chalky, like lavender. It's barely showing up on my skin. Whereas amethyst is more of like, almost, I would say like a duochrome. It's a little bit more sheer. I'm not sure if it's really showing up, but I think that's kind of what I want to put on as a topper, but I just don't know if I've got enough depth there. But we can just build and play. So I'm gonna just dip my finger into amethyst because I think that is the right call. Just wash that with my finger over the center of the lid. I actually think that's quite pretty. And yeah, I think society is going to, I think, fear the aging woman for a long time to come. I don't think that's anything that's going to kind of go away. And obviously, like, if you look at what's happening in the States, like the consistent need to control women's bodies is also something that is a serious problem. I think that is also a little bit tied to, you know, the fear of aging women, because as women age, we know more. You know, there isn't a playbook for how to advocate for yourself. So young women rely on older women in their communities to kind of guide the way. And the more we know, the smarter we are, the more savvy we are, the better prepared we are to kind of like face some of these challenges and these institutions head on. So of course we put on all of these kind of like airs about older women because maybe it's that society at large doesn't want us connecting with our elders because they have knowledge and power. And if we are dumb and we have no access, then we're weak. So there's also something to consider, which is another reason why just the fear of myself aging just like isn't really there anymore. Cause I'm like, y'all, bring it on. I want to be older and wiser. I think when I am actually old, I think I'm gonna have a lot of valuable stuff to like pass on, whether it's to like my children or grandchildren or just other young women and, you know, queer folk in my community. Pretty. So I'm just also now putting amethyst in the corner on the lower end and the upper, and kind of also like where I naturally get shiny on the corner is like right in here in this little divot. So I'm placing amethyst in there. This little shine. That is quite pretty. I really like amethyst, and it actually cooperates. And because it's kind of more of a sheer shimmer, it's just not as fussy to work with. I don't know if the eyes are even, but it might not really matter that much. But what I do want to do is I'm just gonna grab another brush here. I think my little like angled brush. And I'm gonna see, there is this like, it might be the wrong tone, but let me see. I'll just put some on the back of my hand and make the judgment that way. There's this, it is a purple. It's called Panther in the Animal Magic palette. It's definitely more of a plum, whereas the purples in the purple nudes, again, kind of lean more blue. It might give me the depth, especially on my lash line, that I am kind of craving. And as usual, I'm not going to go all the way in. I'm just adding that kind of from the center of the iris out. Oh man, these shadows do not want to go onto my lid, and I wonder if it's because of that primer. I could still see the color of my skin against my lash line. I just wanted to darken that up a little. And then there's this shade Coyote, which is like also super shimmery. And then this shade Bunny. And now that I put my finger in it, I ruined them. But they're very sparkly. So we've got Bunny and Coyote. and swatched. Like they're kind of just like more chunky, glittery shadows. But I don't think either of them are right for this look. So I think I'm just gonna go a little heavier with, so I'll have to dig into Animal Magic at another time. I like it because they actually have a black shadow, and there's just some nice colors. It's just kind of a shame that the performance isn't 100% there, but I do like Pacifica, and I just like their packaging, and it's always just so cute and pretty. So I can never help myself when it comes to buying more things. I am a sucker for their marketing. Honestly, I really just like this amethyst shade. It's so pretty. Okay, I'm gonna flip my mirror again. I think I need to be a little bit darker still on this side. Whatever, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's also another beautiful thing about getting older is like, I feel like my perfectionism is dissipating. And I really appreciate that, because perfectionism is such a debilitating experience. We already have so many things in this life and in, you know, this culture working against us. We don't need to be our own worst enemies. Okay, I already have kind of like a shimmery, glossy looking body oil on, but I think I want to take this amethyst shade and also just kind of rub that on my collarbone, because why not? I don't know if that's doing very much, but I like it. I'm gonna brush off this little, or wipe off my little fan brush and just kind of actually swirl it into amethyst. See if I get a little bit more payoff there. I mean, I'm definitely in the mirror, I can see some of the color. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna take a breath from talking, and I'm gonna put on my mascara, which is still the usual, my Essence Get Big Lashes in waterproof, because, you know, if I'm to be a mermaid, it means I'm going to be in the ocean and I need to have waterproof mascara. So be right back. Okay, mascara is on, and I'm really happy with the eye look. I think I probably could have gotten this exact eye look with my Kaleidos palette, but you live and you learn. Again, I don't think I want to do anything too much on the cheeks, because I really, like, call me crazy, but I want to put on a red lip. So I think I'm going to try out this blush that I have, this other blush that I have from Kaleidos. It's the only one that I haven't really used yet from the last order that I placed. So you guys already, if you've been here for a while, you know that I really love the Kaleidos blush in Sanguine. It has reached favorite status. I also have the very popular kind of like bubblegum pink one. I can never remember the name of this, but I also have the shade Joyride, which comes in another one of their gorgeous little compacts here, and is kind of more of a nude, and like almost, it leans a little bit orange, but it's almost a bronzer shade. And I don't really know how to feel about it, but we're gonna just kind of toss a brush through and see how it looks. So when it comes off on the brush, it definitely looks a little more orangey, but the intention here is just to give my cheeks really like a kiss of color without in any way overpowering my face. So just kind of like a very, very subtle kiss. A little bit on my nose. I think that's actually quite pretty, and I don't really want to do more than that. I don't know if it looks like very much in the camera, but maybe I will, just to pull in a little bit more of that kind of blue tone, I'm going to go into the bubblegum pink, and literally I'm just going to, like, on the apples of my cheek here, just bring a little bit more of that like pink tone in, and then obviously on the nose, of course. But I'm just like tapping it into the product, and then it looks aggressive, but there's like barely anything on here. So I'm just kind of like pushing it into my cheek. And I'm actually seeing that there's a little bit of fallout there. Yeah, in terms of a cheek, I know it's like pretty subtle, but I like that because now we're gonna go in with the red lip. So I had two options that I gave myself. One is the Clarins Water Lip Stain, which I actually really like, and this is the shade, I don't know if it gives me the shade on here. I hate when they don't do that. It's really, really lovely, and it's obviously the red one. But I also have this liquid lipstick from About Face, the Painted Lip color in Serrated Bite. And it's a little bit more of like an orangey red, but there's just, I'm thinking of Ariel, you know? If that's the like clothing option I went with, I think an Ariel lip. Here we go. And I'm gonna be super ballsy and not do a lip liner because I never do lip liner. Oh, I haven't used these in such a long time. I forgot how delicious they feel. Like they're just so smooth. Okay, I'm gonna go over that with my finger, and I did get just a little, that is the, you know, downside of not using a lip liner is you just color outside of the lines a little bit. I also find if I don't like actually connect the color, like if I don't open my mouth and like actually bring down the color, it ends up looking really weird. That is a common issue, but again, I'm bringing my mirror a little closer here so I can really focus on my Cupid's bow. Because I like her. I always want her to be very well defined. Oh, that is such a pretty color. I haven't worn a red lip in a really long time. And I think that's kind of a disservice to myself because I really like my lips. Okay, now I'm just wiping off the lip brush here. And I wiped it off on a cotton pad that had a little, like that was kind of soaked in my cellar water because I did just get a little bit on my skin that where I don't want the lipstick, obviously. But I actually really like that. That was the right choice. I think that's the vibe. And I'm gonna put my mirror back further just so that I can give myself some perspective, you know, or playing with age in terms of space-time. Cute! Ooh, okay, I'm gonna put my seashell bracelet back on. I know that I wore this in my last mermaid makeup video, but just bear with me. It's Pisces season and I am a Pisces. I want to be in the sea, living my little fantasy. Okay, to finish it all off, I'm going to just give myself a little spritz of my new perfume. It is the 7 Virtues Coconut Sun, which I think is like their new fragrance. Comes in this lovely little box. And what I love that just happened, I feel like this is kind of a new adjustment to their packaging, is that 7 Virtues in like the kind of travel size finally gave us an atomizer. So there, you can still buy the rollerball version, but I have been dying for the atomizer, and this is a lovely fragrance. It's not as sweet as my favorite, which is the Vanilla Woods, but once it settles into my skin, it's quite nice and feels like I'm on a beachy vacation, which is the whole vibe, playing mermaid. Okay, ooh, now I'm gonna sneeze. And this is why we wear waterproof mascara. All right, I think I'm done. I think this is a super cute look that I definitely, I think, would like to replicate on Saturday for my birthday party. I think this outfit is also super stinking cute. I am freaking freezing. My hands are so cold. I am covered in goosebumps. So unfortunately, I cannot live my mermaid dreams in Ontario during Pisces season because it's like a minus 1,000 outside still. The year I was born, it was 20 degrees the day my mom brought me home from the hospital, and it has not been 20 degrees on that day since. What a tragedy. But if I turn my little space heater on, perhaps that doesn't matter because I'm not leaving my house on Saturday. The party's happening here. So if I make the inside warm enough, maybe I'll be okay and I can wear this in lieu of my dress that I picked out. We'll see. That's a problem for 2 days from now. But for now, I'm so happy with how this turned out. And I'm feeling really great about turning 33 and just like being fully, firmly, solidly in my 30s. Aging is fun because it really starts to mean that you get to be your fully formed, fully loved self. And I want all of us to embrace that. No more reminiscing on the days when we were like 20 and plump. Because being 30 and just fucking smart and fully formed, especially where your brain is concerned, is the shit. It's the best. Now, I'm gonna do a fun little thing before we wrap up. I pulled out my Magical Mermaids and Dolphins Oracle card deck. And I thought it would be super, super fun to do a pull and just have a little oracle reading to kind of set the intention for the rest of this year. Why not? So I'm gonna clear off some space here and we're gonna get to that. So, okay friends, I have my deck pulled out of the box and we're just gonna give it a very gentle shuffle. I'm not the best shuffler, so you just have to bear with me here. It's been quite a long time since I've done an oracle card reading for myself, but it just felt right to do it in advance of my birthday, kind of as a birthday present to myself. Now, there are all kinds of ways that you can do an oracle card reading. The way I like to do it is to kind of fan out the deck and select a card. Actually, select 3 cards from the deck. But before I do that, now that I've shuffled it, one of the things I like to do kind of to clear the energy of the deck is just to give it a nice little knock. I don't remember where I learned that, but I have been doing my own oracle card readings for quite a long time, and that was just kind of something that I picked up along the way. So now that it is shuffled and I've kind of cleared the energy, I am going to fan it out fully with intention. And I'm just kind of going to quietly make an intention or set an intention for myself for my 33rd year, for the year ahead. And if you would like to do that for yourself as well, you're more than welcome to. Okay, the intention has been set. Sometimes I like to ask the deck a question, but this time it's just been kind of a general intention setting for the year ahead. And I'm gonna go ahead and select 3 cards that are speaking to me. So this one here, and this one here, and this one here. Okay, now I'm going to move the rest of the cards out of the way, and I'm going to spread out the cards I just pulled. So again, this is the way that I typically do cards. So essentially this structure of an oracle card pull, this is kind of your immediate past. this is your present, and this card represents the immediate future. So I'm going to turn them over. So this is a really positive reading as far as I'm concerned. I'll bring the cards a little closer to the camera so that we can see. So the immediate past is the You're Being Helped card with this absolutely adorable little child mermaid here and a couple dolphins and ducks. And the little quote at the bottom here is, heaven is working behind the scenes to help you even if you don't see results yet. Now, obviously, this card specifically deals with heaven as kind of the amorphous other. You really kind of, with oracle cards, have to take it as you believe it. It is, I think you can extrapolate the meanings and whatever feels right for you. The present card is making me really happy, and I think it speaks so well to kind of what we've been talking about today. It's the empowerment card with this beautiful angel-like mermaid in the center, and it says, you're more powerful than you realize. It's safe for you to be powerful. And I think that really just, again, represents so much of what we talked about today. And just being in your power, especially if you too are someone who is kind of aging and feeling uncertain about it. This is just really a confirmation and affirmation that you are exactly where you should be and that you should really sit in your power. And then the immediate future card is morning affirmations, with another absolutely stunning mermaid here, really just with her head lifted to the sun. And the little caption here is, say positive affirmations each morning to open the gates of manifestation. And I really like this one for myself personally because this is absolutely something that I have been meaning to do and wanting to do. It's been on my to-do list, to just really start setting intentions and saying affirmations to myself every single day. And even if it's not out loud, I constantly have this inner dialogue. So one of my personal goals is just kind of to lean in more with that kind of internal self-talk and making more affirmations for myself. Anyways, y'all, that is everything from me today. I hope you enjoyed this video and the makeup look and the kind of unusual little pull at the end here with some spiritual oracle card magic with mermaids and dolphins. And with all of that being said, I will see you in my next one. I love you. Ooh, bye.